Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's session live stream like a pro. I'm Radwa Ali. I'm the director of the Roxbury Public Library, and today I am going to attempt to unload some of the information that I've managed to take in over probably the last year at this point. Ever since the lockdowns began and the virtual library became a thing, I have been exploring and trying things out, and trying to find kind of the perfect solution, the perfect way for the library to present itself virtually, whether it's a story time or a lecture, or even just a regular Zoom call. Full disclosure, I don't think I'm a pro. I'm not at that level. I'm trying, and I'm constantly watching YouTube videos and trying new things and doing a trial period for whatever new software or web tool. So I'm certainly trying, and in that trying, I'm slowly but surely getting more comfortable with it, to the point where I think today I might be able to show you a few things, and hopefully get you to be excited about it. Once you kind of get over that fear, that big hurdle, you start exploring, and you'll discover things, and you'll learn things, and you might just hit that jackpot, and find the perfect software, the perfect camera, or the perfect streaming platform that you love that works perfectly for you. But you'll never do it unless you try. So hopefully by the end of this session, you'll see some of the options that are out there. This is by no means a thorough. We're going to be scratching at the surface, really. But it should be a good introduction. So let's begin. You'll notice that we are right now, what you're seeing is an open Zoom session. The camera I'm speaking into is just my webcam, and I'm actually in a Zoom window right now. I'm the only participant, and it's just me. One of the things that I have been trying to figure out is how to make myself uh, just look better, look more professional on Zoom, right? We can't really escape Zoom. It seems to be here to stay. And whether it's a meeting with colleagues, whether it's a book club, or you're doing a lecture with your patrons and you're there to moderate, um, having a professional look is a goes a long way. And the Zoom window kind of gets stale. All right, it's we all have it. It's the same for everybody, and we can do better than that. So let's look at one way that I have been employing for the past few months, and I've gotten lots of feedback on. And I promised that I would show people how to do it, and it's actually very, very easy, and it's perfect because it will allow us to start playing with a really wonderful program, and that program is called OBS. It's Open Broadcast Studio, and it's free. It's open source, as the name suggests. You can download it right now for Windows, for Mac, and it works. It works really, really well. The one big downside to it, though, is that it has a huge learning curve. Like what you would expect from an open source, very, very complex piece of software. It works wonderfully, and it's very, very highly regarded. But it's a steep learning curve. But we're going to get started with it, and I'm going to show you sort of the simplest application that you can do with Open Broadcast Studio. So this is what a brand new, completely fresh install of OBS looks like. You have some basic elements that should look a little bit familiar if you've done any work in video editing. On the top left here is a preview window. On the top right here is a program window. You have these areas this is called the scenes. Here you have sources. Here you have the audio mixer. You have scene transitions and some other controls that we'll get into. Okay, really, really basic. So I would like to get my camera turned on now, so let me just go ahead and build out a scene. And remember, this is a studio. So think of it like a studio. Think like you're making a movie, and you have a certain scene that you want to show. In this case, what I want to show is a scene, and I'm going, actually, I already had one right here. I'm going to rename this one, and I'm just going to call it webcam. Okay. And now I'm going to add a source. And you can add a whole bunch of different things. You have audio input, audio output, browser, color, display capture, game capture. I should mention that OBS is very, very popular with gamers. A lot of the streams that you see on YouTube of people just playing games and cashing in millions for it, they're using OBS. Anyway, images and so forth and so forth. So I'm going to pick video capture device, which is the term that is for the camera. And I'm going to name it after my camera, which is the Amiivo camera. And I'm going to hit OK. And look at that. There I am. It's picking up my existing Mevo camera, so that's good. And I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to do any configuration, but you could go in and do, all kinds of stuff. You can flip vertically. We don't want that. You can, do different things. You can capture audio only. Just an FYI, I'm not even going to get into the audio during today's presentation because it is way more complicated than video. And we would need to spend a good 20 hours or so just on the audio. And I'm nowhere near comfortable enough with that to explain it to someone else. Okay, so here we have this camera that I can move around. And I'm just going to make it so that it's the right size. Here we go. There we go. All right, so I've put in my camera. And if I hit transition over here, now you're going to see that it shows up over here as well too. And I'm going to get into what that does in a little bit. And again, just don't worry about the audio for now. We're really not doing audio in this presentation. It's way too complicated to get into it. So I have a webcam, but okay, this is pretty simple, right? We have a webcam in Zoom. Why would I just have a webcam in here? What's the point in this? Well, okay, let's add something else. So to my scene, I want to add more things. So I'm going to rename my scene just so that I keep track of what I'm doing. Let me find the rename. And I'm going to say webcam plus logo plus lower third. Now we should have some more fun. Okay, I have my camera. I want to add a logo and I want to add a lower third. So I'm going to go to the plus sign and I'm going to choose image. And I'm going to call this logo. And I'm going to find the image file. So browse. And I just downloaded it. Here it is, logo with shadow. And there it is. Look at that. I can resize it. I can put it wherever I want to. It makes sense to put it over here. So this is where I'm going to put it. And notice how the logo is above the camera. And here in this screen, the logo is above my camera feed. If I were to put this below, it would disappear. See that? So you want to have the camera be the bottom on the bottom of all of this. Let's go ahead and add that lower third. Plus, again, we're going to go to image, and I'm going to call this lower third, and I'm just going to say that this is my name, and hit OK. Browse. Here it is. Open. I know it looks kind of weird over here, but it doesn't look that bad in the actual thing. And OK. And again, here we are. And I'm going to... Now, this file is weird. It's like a really big file. So instead of having this little tiny image with this really big footprint, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Alt, and I'm going to just shrink it so it doesn't take up so much space. Here and here. I'm basically just cropping. I'm cropping this image. Okay, and here we have it. And again, I can just make it smaller if I think it's too big. Okay, make it just right. and position it just how I want to. And there. And now if I hit transition over here, it'll show up over here as well. So this is cool, okay? But this is in OBS. I want this in Zoom. How do I do that? Well, you can do that because the beauty of OBS is that it is able to talk to Zoom. And it's through something called the virtual camera. Down over here on the right-hand side, but there says a bunch of different things. There's start streaming, start recording, start virtual camera. We'll come back to that. Studio mode, which is what we're in right now. There's settings and then to exit. Okay. FYI, right from inside this platform, you could start streaming. Okay. So if you do streams like story times and you just stream right out to YouTube or right out to Facebook or wherever, and you're not doing like a Zoom meeting type thing, it's just you and it's just going out, you could do all the work and all the fun stuff right in this platform in OBS. Okay. And just hit start streaming and it will, you configure it obviously and tell it where to go. But it will just go right out to, the platform of your choice and you're done. You can also start recording from within here as well too. Okay. But what I want to do is hit this button called start virtual camera. And when I do that, nothing was going to happen. Okay. Something is happening in the background. You just can't see it. But what's happening now is there's this thing in my computer called the virtual camera, and everything happening in this right-hand side window here is kind of being sent to it. Okay. And here's the really cool bit. You ready? Here's a really cool bit. Here is this Zoom call. All right. And I'm not on a camera right now. Right over here, I have my Mevo camera, which I'm not going to use right now because I already have it turned on in here, right? I already have my Mevo camera turned on inside OBS. But there's something called OBS virtual camera. And watch what happens when I turn this on. Ta-da! I'm inside Zoom. This is the Zoom feed. This is a regular Zoom meeting. Here's the Zoom controls. And now you have my logo, you have my lower thirds, and isn't that awesome? And this is the simplest thing that you can do that I'm sure any of you can go and do today with a little bit of settings tweaks. I'll get to that. But this is like the absolute easiest thing that anyone can do. And you could really have fun with this. Okay, so here you have my OBS, and here I have my Zoom. So remember, everything that this instead of using my camera, okay, instead of using my Mevo camera, which is my webcam, it's taking everything out of this thing called OBS virtual camera. Okay, it's a virtual camera. So anything that shows up inside this output over here on the right hand side, right? This is where I kind of experiment and play with it, and I push it out into here for the real life broadcast. Anything in here is going to show up over here. So what's to stop us from adding other things besides just a logo and a lower third and my camera? What if you can do something else? Let's build another scene and see what we can do. So I have this scene right here and I want to just do a different one. So I'm going to go add and I'm going to call this scene 2 and let's call this webinar. Okay. Now, a webinar, you typically want to have your own camera, right? So I'm going to go into, actually what I can do here instead is just to copy this into this. Easy. Okay. But instead what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to make this smaller. Okay. I'm going to make this, I'm going to do Alt and I'm going to shrink myself down a little bit. I don't need that much space. Okay. I'll just remember to stay inside this border here. And I'm going to make this significant. Oops. I think I have to hit Shift. No, not Shift. I have to hit Windows. Great. And I'm going to put myself somewhere in the middle over here. Okay, great. Now I want to add a presentation. So I have my Mevo. Let's go here and add, let's do a Windows capture. Okay, Windows capture, I'll just call it that for now. And I'm going to choose, so it looks at all of my windows that are open on here. Okay, it actually has my Zoom meeting, which looks horrendous, so let's not do that. And then this, right? But let's go and do, I have my Chrome. There we go. Okay, I have a Chrome window open right here. And I will just say, I can also tell it to capture or not capture the cursor. So let's go ahead and add, I'm going to go and do a Windows capture. And I'm going to choose this Opera. Say OK. And here it is. Oops, let me make it a tad smaller and have it look a little bit more natural. And put it on here. And let me just, go somewhere a little bit better. Okay. And now I can do a presentation. Remember, I'm going to hit transition. And now did you see this over here? Here is the Zoom session right there. And I have a presentation with a nice big version of my camera on the left-hand side over here and whatever I want to show in this browser. Okay. One of the annoying things about Zoom is that there's really very little control over the outcome. Okay. Every presentation, you're going to have either, your little gallery view on the side or little tiny speaker view up in the right-hand corner. You can't move that. You can't put it somewhere else. You can't change the size. You're stuck with what they design. But if you think for a minute, the fact that this, even though right now it's just me, it's my camera, okay? If you think of it more like Photoshop for your camera versus just a camera, you could do anything you want. You could do anything that you want inside this sandbox. Okay? And whatever you can get to fit in here, and you can transition back and forth. And by the way, the transitioning, if you notice, is going from scene to scene. Okay? So let me just go back over here. When I hit the transition button, right now I'm a webcam and logo in lower third over here, and this is what I'm seeing here. If I just hit that, it'll just switch between them because I only have two. And remember, what's on the right-hand side here is what is being broadcast out onto the virtual camera. So when I switch this, now it's here. So just imagine the possibilities for a second. All right? You could build an entire show. You can start off with, start off with yourself talking, transition into this presentation, but you can do even more. It's not just images, it's not just the webcam, it's not just the browser. You could add media sources. Let's try it. Actually, let's not put it over here. Let's go into scene, and I'm going to add a video. And I'm just going to go in here, and I am going to select media source. Call it media source for now. And I'm just going to find a video, any video that I have here. I'm just looking for a short one, though. Nothing long. Let's go with this B-roll. Perfect. Okay. And I can choose how I want it, so I can have it be on a loop, so it's always running, or just leave it at that. Restart playback when source becomes active. Use hardware encoding when available. I won't even worry about that. I can change the speed of this, and let's just leave it alone, and I'm going to hit OK. And let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to just shrink. Well, I don't want to shrink it too much so you guys can see. I'm going to shrink this one down. Okay, so here I have this, and now I want to switch to this video. Look at that. This is playing from my camera. Okay, My camera is playing this. I'm not sharing a screen on Zoom. All right? I'm not sharing a screen. This is happening from the virtual camera, and I can put whatever I want in that virtual camera. I can put a video with sound. I can put a slideshow. I can put myself on top of this if I wanted to. Here, let's do it. Let's take the Mevo, copy, and I'm gonna put it in here. And remember, it's too big right now, so I'm gonna shrink it down. Okay, so I'm gonna put it right over here, right on top of it. And then remember, hit transition, and now here we go. Now the video's over, so then my job is to transition quickly. Actually, I should hit something else. Transition, there we go, and now I'm back into this other thing that I had. Okay, so this is pretty cool, don't you think? The possibilities really are kind of limitless with this. Now, streamers and gamers go way beyond this. You can do a lot more, and I really can't get into all that. But you can do a lot more with this. But let's look at another scenario. Okay, so we have our webinar, we have webcam and logo and lower third. Let's do this. Let's go and actually copy the webinar. Okay, and I'm going to call it webinar with scroll. Okay, and here's what I'm going to do. I am going to just shrink, actually not shrink, let me just bring everything up just a tad. I'm just going to bring everything up a little bit. And I'm going to leave the bottom here empty. And I'm going to go to plus, and let's see if I can remember which one I want to do. Oh, by the way, you can also change the color in the background here. So I have black in the background. I can, let's just do it. I can do color source, and now I have this, white thing. Let's do something to match our logo. So I'll do this one. Say okay. Select. Oops, no, it didn't actually work. Let's go back again. It's close enough. Say okay. There we go. And remember, I got to put it on the bottom of everything. And now it's in the background like this. It's a little bright, so I'm just going to change that back to something less ostentatious. Let's go with that. That's much better. There we go. All right, let's see. Text. Let's do text. Let's go here, and I'm going to call it scroll. So I'm pretty sure this is what I need to do. Hit OK. And now I'm going to write something. Okay, so I just wrote a very long thing. And you'll notice that what I did is that I left some space in between each idea, each section. Okay, and there's a reason for that. Just watch. Text transform. You can transform everything from right here to uppercase, lowercase, or start case. I'll just leave it alone for now. Change the color. I'll leave it at white for now. The opacity you can also change from here as well too. Make it a little bit more see-through. I'll leave it here as well. Gradients, all background color, all of these different things. I'm just gonna leave all that for now. So here's all this text, and right now it's showing up over here, and it looks, pretty. I can make it a little smaller, but it looks pretty bad. That's not what I want though. So I'm gonna select the scroll. I'm gonna go to filters, and I'm gonna add something called scroll right here. I'm going to call it a scroll because that's the filter that I'm adding to it. And I can tell it what direction to go to and how fast. And really, the only way to really understand this is just to try it and play with it and experiment. But let's just do it and see what happens. So I'll leave it kind of in the middle here and see what occurs. Hit close. And if you see what's happening right now is that it's moving right now. Okay. Very slowly. So let's make it go a little faster. So I'll go back to my scroll, hit filters, and make it horizontal speed needs to go a little. And actually, as you can see, when I'm changing it, you can actually see it in real time. So let's find something that kind of is reasonable. Okay, it's not bad. And say close that. And let's just make this, because this is way too big. Okay, this is pretty big. So let's just do that again. 256s. Let's try 120. Okay, that's a lot better. Okay, and then I'm going to position it right here like this and transition. And now watch that. Let me go back. Oh, I have to start virtual camera. Oops, no. And now, so this is now what it looks like, and here is what it looks like in the Zoom. How cool is that? So imagine doing a presentation with this at your fingertips. Imagine what, the possibilities. Isn't this cool? Okay, so now that we've gone over some of the basics on OBS, let me show you the next level up. Because what we can do is essentially build an entire sequence of events that we can push out on a schedule for a very well organized and beautiful show like this. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you, sponsors, for sponsoring this wonderful event. This could be an event as big as NJLA, or it could be maybe you want to thank sponsors that have paid for a big program that you did in your library. Maybe you're having a carnival and sponsors, paid the cost so that you could hold it without charging people to attend. Or maybe you're having maybe you're doing a gala and sponsors underwrote the cost of the venue, and now all the money that you're going to make from selling tickets will be pure profit. So I'm thanking sponsors, blah, 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 blah. Moving on, let's go to the next thing, which is, oh, look at that. It's a story time. Why don't we have a fun story time? And let's sing along and dance and, things that kids like to do. Hooray! Because I have a video background, and isn't that pretty cool? But let's get a little bit more serious now and transition into a webinar. So we have a webinar here that we're going to run and talk about and be really, really smart with, and so on and so on. And we're going to have a serious discussion and talk about things and point at things and be really, really cool. All right. Now let's go into another thing, which is, oh, look, we have a little slideshow here. And we can point at things and talk about things. Maybe it's pictures of the last big event that you did at your library, or maybe it's a bunch of cute kids that you want to showcase, or maybe it's more sponsors that we want to thank for sponsoring this event, and the keynote speakers for being awesome and, keynoting this event. But let's change it up again, and let's go and do another webinar. This time we have our scroll on the bottom, and we are talking about things and blah, 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 blah. And let's go ahead and finish this off with another thanks to our sponsors. Blah, 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 blah. This is all being done in real time. Okay, I'm in Zoom, as you can see. Imagine the possibilities, folks. And I haven't even gone into all the cool stuff you can do with the audio. I haven't even gone into the transitions that you can do. Okay? You don't have to do boring transitions like cutting. You can fade. You can fade to black. And there's other transitions that you can do besides fading. You can swipe like that, and like that, and like that. Now, let me show you what I'm seeing in OBS. So this is what I was seeing, okay? Here I have my list of scenes. I have my countdown. And then I go into the next thing. I key it up over here and get it ready. And when this is over, I will transition into that. And when that's done, I get ready for the next thing and I hit transition, and now I go into that. And here is the next thing, which is actually, well, it's pretty wild actually. It's showing you my other screen. And we have our video. We have our webinar with scroll. And we're back to thanking sponsors. So this is really more of a show. Okay, it's a production. And certainly it's a whole lot more work, and you have to do things before you actually start broadcasting, like build these things out, have whatever graphics you need, and so forth. But the quality is a lot better. So there is another option that I wanted to mention that I have been using to help me record my sessions this past week. And that is a tool like Restream.io. Now Restream.io, there's also StreamYard, and really if you just, there's a lot of these different websites, and they take the studio concept and they put it in your browser. And as you can see from just looking at this right now, it's much easier. It's much more user-friendly, much easier to learn and to master. But of course, the other side of that is it does cost money. All of these sites that do this will cost you a considerable chunk per month. We're talking, between $40 and $100 or more per month. So just keep that in mind. There is a cost to the ease of use, but it's so easy to use. I mean, it's just look at it. So I'm here right now. Here's my camera. I can go, full maximize, or just go back to where I was. I can. So I already have I'm sharing my screen. So I have a window here. Nothing's gonna happen because I'm not actually moving in it. But you can see how easy it is. You can even have background music. How cool is that? They give you some, a handful, not unlimited, but just kind of the basic ways that you would typically want to position your screens. So you have something like this. You have this. If we had more than 2 feeds, this would actually make sense. Picture in picture. This is, what do they call it? This is cinema view, and then this is the thumbnail view, and you can just sort of flip them just like that. That's how easy it is. Just boom, flip anytime. And picture in picture, I think it's the same thing. Yep, you can switch them around just like that. So it's really, really easy to use. It's also really great if you're gonna be if you want to invite people to participate in this. So this is great if you are having like a discussion or talk, or even if you're having someone else present and they're not in the same space. So you would just go over here to invite guests. You would copy this link and you would just send it to them. So I'm just going to try it out right now. I just sent it to my phone, and just to demonstrate, I got a link. I'm just clicked on the link. Let me switch my. There we go. And what's happening right now is it's saying that the studio would like to access my camera and my microphone. So I will allow. And if you let's see. So here I am, and it's asking me if I'm ready to join, and I'm just going to put in my name. I'm going to put in the other Radwa and join stream. And now let's mute that and turn the sound off. So you see on the bottom, let me turn this way off. So here I am. You can see me on this, in this area right here. Here I am. The fact that I'm grayed out means that I'm not actually in the feed. I'm kind of in the green room, if you will. And once I hit this button, then I will show up over here. So now I can do fun stuff like this. Now I have three different cameras, if you will. I can change it around cinema view. So here we are, right? I can do this. And again, I can just switch it around. And same thing down here. And like that. So this is obviously limited. You're not gonna have like a full room of participants like you would in a Zoom session with people. But if you were just wanting to have a conversation with someone and stream that conversation, and I believe the maximum is 10 guests can be on this. I'll have to check that. 10 guests, and it's so easy to use. And now this is just the different feeds, but watch this. So I'm gonna actually get out of this so that the noise doesn't get too annoying. But by the way, I can also share on the phone. I can also share my own screen too. Okay, so I'm gonna leave. There's a simple leave button, and now that's gone. But watch how great this is. So I'm gonna go back to just me, and here is let's see, I don't think they're actually on. There we go. Participants' names, and you can change they don't have too many themes. I wish they had a few more, but you can certainly change the colors of all of these. They're terrible. Goodness. Here we go. So they have this rounded, this news one, and this default one. Let's see, you can add logos. So I'm gonna upload, I think I just had it, logo with shadow. And here it is. And I can just add that in, and it will just appear right there. I also did an overlay. So these are the overlays that I used the other day. They're right in here. They just show up just like that. So see how easy that is? It's definitely a lot easier than in OBS for sure. And you can also do video clips really easily too, like this. Or like this. And it's a really smart system. So when you play a video clip, it'll automatically mute your mic. You know, which that's not going to happen in OBS. Everything there is manual, and you have to play with every little setting just the right way, or else there will be problems. And you can add loads of video clips here. You can have your own background things here. Let me just some default ones here as well. But I'm also going to go ahead and upload. I want to actually I want to go to Canva first and download it. So by the way, all these overlays that I've been using in OBS and here as well, they're all made in Canva. Okay. The trick with them is that when you download things, so PNG for high quality image, you have to do transparent background. That's the trick. That way the white stuff is gone and you have just this and just that, and then you can overlay it over whatever else you want. So I'm gonna download that, and go back, go back here, and I'm going to upload that. No, not that. Logo overlay. Okay. So now I could have the logo and my lower third a little bit differently. So I can still choose to just put in the logo in here. And mine's a little different. I have the logo on the other side. Probably not really normal. And in that case, I would then take off the participant's name up here because it would be redundant. Okay. Let's see what else in here. The backgrounds. So if I go back and I do like cinema, for example, I can change the backgrounds. Again, I can upload my own backgrounds. You can also upload video backgrounds. So there we go. That's an example. Another example. Which is just, again, really neat. And again, all of these things you can do in OBS. Okay, you can absolutely do them in OBS. But it's going to be a lot more setting up. It's going to be more likely that you'll make a mistake. And it's just not as easy. Even when you have things set up, it's not as intuitive. There's a reason why they charge money, these folks, because it is so much easier to use. Let's see. Oh, also really cool. You can actually connect this to your, just see over here if I can show it to you. Social comments. You can connect it to, I know you can do it for Facebook for sure. That I've tried it and it worked. So that if you're streaming this to Facebook or to YouTube and someone there is commenting on your stream, you can actually have it so that that comment shows up in here, which is pretty darn neat. That just makes the quality of your production, that much better. So I can take that, put it, and also we can do a chat overlay here as well too. So you see that? I can have it all displayed over here. So, you add stuff here and it starts to look like a real professional kind of production, which is awesome. So I'm just gonna close this for now, captions. So when they say caption, it's just text. It's not actual caption. But here's an example of that. So you actually can build these out and put them in, however you want to during the production. So you do that and hide it, and then show this other one here and hide it. So primary text is the one on top, secondary text is optional, it's on the bottom. So again, it's good and it looks fantastic, and it's a consistent animation which looks professional in the end. I just wish they had more options. I'd like more than just this style. And obviously this style matches whatever style I have up here, right? So if I had chosen like this rounded one and then I did the caption, I believe it will look different. Yep, see, looks different. And I know the pricing on this, it's been a while since I looked at this. Let me just double check. Livestream. IO, I don't want pricing. So there is a free forever plan, but it is pretty limited, I believe. With the free plan, let's see, you would not be able to stream to Facebook pages, which is obviously a problem for, I think, all of us. The standard one, you would be. Let's see. I don't think most of us have to worry about doing more than 6 hours per stream. That's a lot. But yeah, so there's as you can see, the pricing gets pretty outrageous. I don't think any of us would need anything beyond professional. Certainly, I mean, multi-camera support is coming soon. That's pretty interesting. That's very interesting. I'm intrigued. But yeah, you do get a lot for what you're paying. But really, for me anyway, the biggest sell is just how easy this is to use. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to use, and it's great. So that was Restream, a much easier version of OBS with less capabilities. Don't forget that it is not as capable as OBS. OBS can do a whole lot more. But because it's just so difficult to use, what are the odds that you're going to do all that stuff anyway on OBS, right? So I hope you've learned something today. At the very least, I think all of us should be able to do a lower thirds and a logo on top of our Zoom camera. I do want to mention that there are some settings that need to be tweaked in OBS and on your computer in order for the virtual camera thing to work. There are a lot of YouTube videos out there that explain it thoroughly. I'm going to put some of those videos in the session description. And if I can't do it, I'll put it in the chat. Because I watched hours upon hours of YouTube videos specifically just to get that virtual camera thing turned on, and maybe it's gotten easier since it's been a while and there's always updates. But that took some setting changes on my computer, on my Mac, and on the work PC. And the audio, oh my God, the audio is deeply unpleasant. I feel like I had it figured out for a short while. Like I had this page of notes somewhere on my desk over here. I have it. And then just, I don't know, I lost it. Like it made sense for about 5 minutes and then it stopped making sense. And it's a real challenge. Audio is definitely more difficult to deal with than video. I'll give you a clue. So remember we said that we have a virtual camera that we need to enable and kind of get to work with Zoom. There's virtual audio cables too, and it's not just one. There's 4. So it's tough. But we'll get there, little by little. Eventually, I think all of us, all library professionals, will just have to. We will have to level up if we want to compete, if we want to stay relevant. We have to level up. We have to constantly improve. And really, most importantly, I think just not be scared of trying this new tech and experimenting with it. Click the button, see what happens. That's how you learn, okay? And eventually we'll get comfortable with it, and then, we'll be on to the next daunting thing. All right. Well, this was fun. Thank you very much. And I believe this is the last session of the last hour of the conference, not including the raffle thing. So thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to hang out with me and watch this in the last hour of the conference. It was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you learned a lot. And I'm looking forward to the next time that we all can be in the same space. Whether it's a virtual space or a physical space, it was really nice just kind of talking and chatting and popping in on so many people. It was nice. So have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for being here. And until next time, bye.